started. So, welcome on Facebook. If you all can check in real quick for me and let me know where you're watching us from, because I know on Facebook and even here on the webinar, you all join us from all over the country. So if you could just type in really quick, where you're watching us from, that would be great. And Facebook, I'm going to definitely try to get to everyone. And while you all are sharing where you're watching us from, I just want to give a shout out to my team members at Affordable Benefit Solutions. I know you all always see me, Darlene Jenkins, and my partner, Rita Bailey, that's right there on the screen. But we also have some other team members that work with us on Facebook helping me out. I have Javon Walker, that's our Baltimore connection. And then here in our office in the Maryland, D.C. area, we have Robert Bailey helping us out. So welcome. Good morning, Dwayne. Welcome. So we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a lot of information to go over. So this is Financial Fed Fridays. If you're just tuning in, we come here every Friday at 10 a.m. Where we're broadcasting live, also on simultaneously on Facebook. So good morning again, Facebook. And what we're doing is that we're just pulling back the curtains and to give you an in-depth understanding of not only your federal benefit options, but also the best retirement investment options. I'm trying to get the screen down, you all. Just bear with me real quick, okay? So you can register if you're new to this. You can register, or if you're listening on the phone and you want to join us on the broadcast, you can register at www.ritabrolandevents.com. Also, you can, if you're on Facebook, if you have a Facebook page as well, and I know that's a touchy subject right now, y'all. But if you do, then you can like our page at Your AB Solutions. That's where you can find us. So you want to tell your friends and come on back over here with us. So the whole purpose of this Financial Fed Friday series is just to help you understand your benefits, your money, your spending habits. All of that goes into your financial personality. And then we want to offer you support and solutions that will enable you to reach your financial destination as well. So I am Darlene Jenkins. My partner, Rita Bailey, as I said, she's been Rita Bailey-Roland. She is not here today because she's in training, so I'm flying solo, but I do have my other team members that are here that are helping me as well. So I want to let you all know that the information that we do on our weekly series, it has to be very general in nature, because without knowing your specific individual situation, we can't tailor our presentations to you. However, the good news is if you reach out to us, we can do that. We're here to support you as we go through this information. Sometimes it's complex, it's a lot, you may feel overwhelmed, but you need not. All you have to do is just give us a call. So thank you for understanding that this is going to be general, but it's still applicable to your situation. We can tailor it to you. So this is spring, you all. It doesn't feel like it outside right now, but this is spring. And what we're doing right now is that we're springing into financial awareness, because April is Financial Awareness Month. So these are the topics that we're going to be going over. Today, we're planting the seeds for your Medicare harvest. You may not be eligible for Medicare right now, but it's coming up. And we want to give you the information you need so that you can be fruitful and have the best experience in Medicare and with Medicare when you're there. Also, next week, we're going to be going over the nuts and bolts of financial literacy, just giving you some information. It's a lot of content there to make sure you have a well-rounded knowledge. So we're going to do that for 2 weeks. So next week, the 13th, and on the 20th. And then the last thing we're going to do as we leave Financial Awareness Month is that we're going to prune those financial bad habits. Because to be successful, like when you're growing your garden, you got to get in there and get those weeds out. So we're going to get in there the last week of the month and help get out some of those bad habits if you have some. So we're planting the seeds for your Medicare harvest. So I just want to go over, if you weren't on last week, I want to just cover some basics really, really quick. In order to qualify for Medicare, you have to be age 65 or older. Okay. Also, if you're younger than 65 and you have been receiving Social Security, you would be eligible, or if you have the railroad retirement disability benefits for at least 2 years, you're also eligible. Now, if you're younger than 65 and you have end-stage renal disease, you would also be eligible for Medicare. Or if you have Lou Gehrig's disease and you're under age 65, you would also qualify. If you don't have any of those special circumstances, then you have to be 65 or older in order to qualify for Medicare. Now, Medicare open enrollment, you have a 7-month period that begins 3 months before your 65th birthday in order to enroll, and that concludes 3 months afterwards. Okay, so if you're not signed up for Medicare, and this is Medicare Part B, 3 months after your 65th birthday, and you ever decide to come back, last week I discussed the penalty that you would get. And it's permanent. That penalty is a permanent penalty. Also, the general enrollment, that starts from January through March and of each year, and the coverage begins in July 1st of that year. Now, if you don't do it, so let's say your birthday is in March and you're not signed up by June, then you're going to have almost a year's penalty from June to, 6 months from June to January when the coverage starts. Again, even though you say, oh, I forgot, and you signed up in April, that penalty is there and it's permanent. And remember, last week we shared with you also, no one is going to tell you that it's open enrollment. They're not going to do it. So you have to, we're going to tell you, because we're going to have your back on this, and we'll probably bring on some Medicare experts to go over this information again with you when it's Medicare open season. But the main thing is we just don't want you to have that late penalty because it's permanent. It doesn't go away. Now, how does Medicare work? First of all, you have Part A. That's what you're paying for right now out of your check, the 1.45%. So it doesn't matter if you work for the government or if you work in private industry. If you're self-employed, you're still paying towards Medicare, 1.45%. That's the option A. That's the hospital portion of it. So that's why now you see right here, it says generally no premiums. That's because you've already paid for it. Okay, so what does this cover? It covers if you're in the hospital, if you have to have care in a skilled nursing facility or nursing home. But remember, some of you may be saying, oh, okay, I thought you said Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. It does not cover long-term care. If you go there to rehab, you see that? It says as long as your care is not custodial, meaning you have to stay there. What this Medicare Part A covers is if you have to go there for rehab, you get yourself together and then you go home. Medicare will pay for that. Also, you have deductibles, your co-insurance, like you may have a $500 deductible, and then when you go, your co-insurance may be, $30 that you have to pay, and there are other payments that apply. So that's Medicare Part A. Once you reach age 65, everybody gets that because you've already paid for it, okay? Now, the next thing that happens is Medicare Part B. Now, this is where the big dilemma comes in. Should I get it? Should I not get it? Because the Medicare Part B, this is what you do have to pay for when you turn age 65. Now, in the Part B, this covers things such as your lab tests, surgeries, when you have to go to just a regular doctor visit, mental health things, and it covers a lot more. Now, the premium, although this says 2017, is actually the premium for 2018 as well. It's $134 a month. Now, it could be higher depending on your income. Everyone doesn't, is not paying $134. The more money you make, the more it's going to cost. Also, here's another little tidbit. If you have your Medicare deducted from your Social Security, you pay just a few dollars less. So you do get a little discount, and it automatically comes out of your Social Security payment, so you don't have to worry about how am I going to pay it. Okay. And if you work for the government as well as the district government and you're not currently paying into Social Security, so you won't be receiving a Social Security check, they will deduct it from your annuity payment that you receive from your job. But you're not going to get the discount, but you will have that payment taken out. Okay. And you have $183 per year deductible. So you have to pay that before they pay anything. And then after your deductible is met, you typically have to pay 20%. So all of my government employees out there, this is just for the government employees. If you have your health insurance through the federal government and you move into retirement, and now the question becomes, should I get Medicare Part B? Well, it's a couple of things you have to consider. Number one, what is your health like? Do you ever think your health, will worsen? Okay. Let me use my mother for an example. My mother has Medicare Part B. She's paying for that. Once you turn age 65 and you enroll in Medicare Part B, this is for any government worker, whether it's federal, state, or municipality. Once you turn 65 and you get the Medicare Part B, Medicare now becomes your primary, and your federal plan, whatever plan you had through your job, that falls back and becomes your secondary. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because you see that 20% that you have to pay for the deductible, your other insurance picks that up. So with my mother, when she was working, and as you all know, if you've been following us, my mother has a lot of health problems. When she had great insurance through the government, she still does, but she was in a PPO where she had to pay 20% of the costs associated with her care. Now, she had heart problems, and when she would have to go into the hospital, her health insurance covered a great chunk of it. However, it was nothing for her. There was a time when she owed her 20% share was $12,000. That was $12,000 that she had to pay. But now that she's on Medicare, and this is why you have to really weigh the options. Now that she's on Medicare, when she went into the hospital, had those extended hospital stays, there was no out-of-pocket cost for her. Her costs have been reduced tremendously. However, she has other costs that have increased, such as prescription drug coverage. But this is very important. And remember, if you later decide, well, I do want to get Medicare. However many years you waited, that's going to be your penalty. And you're going to have to now pay an increased amount. So you need to look at, what is my health? Do I ever think once I get older that I may need to fall back on Medicare, to get the Medicare Part B? I don't want to say fall back on it as if it's something, that's not good to have, because based on my family's experience, having this Medicare Part B has meant everything, because on top of her high drug costs, if we had to still pay a 20% copay, we would be wiped out. So when you get here, this is an important time also to talk with someone to see, okay, well, what moves should I make? And that's where we can come in and help you. Now, this chart right here shows you that based on your income, this is what determines how much you have to pay for your Medicare premiums. So if you're making less than $85,000, okay, and if you're married and you file jointly, you can make less than $170,000, then you're paying $134,000. But if you're in retirement and you're earning $85,000 up to $107,000, now you're paying $187.50. And before some of you on here say, oh, well, wait a minute, someone is earning $85,000 to $170,000? Yes. Your income, depending on how much you were earning when you were working, then you have your investments. If you're drawing income from all of these things, it's not just what your pension is, it's your total income that you have coming in. That's how they determine it. Now, also, real quick, I want to mention here, if you have a retirement account like a TSP or 401k, when you get ready to retire, you want to be real careful about just drawing out your money. Because guess what? When you take your money out, let's say you have money in the TSP and you're like, hey, or your 401k, your 403b, 457, whatever you have, your other retirement account, that now you're eligible to get that money out. And you say, you know what? I'm going to take $50,000. I'm going to buy me a new car. I've worked, I'm spending my money. Keep in mind that money you just took out now is taxable income. So if you took out $50,000 and your retirement income is $50,000, now you at $100,000 for the year. And that's what, now you're not paying $134 anymore, you're paying $187.50. So you have to really coordinate how you receive your income to make sure you're not inadvertently pushing yourself to a higher Medicare Part B payment that you may really need the Medicare Part B. And you continue to pay that until your income falls back down. So you may be stuck there for 2 years. Okay? So that's important to know. Now, Medicare Part C. These are the Medicare Advantage plans. Now, the people, if you're on here and you work for the government or municipality or a state agency, then the Medicare Advantage plans really aren't anything that is on your radar that you need to be concerned with, because these are Medicare plans. Now, if you work for the private industry or you have family that work for the private industry, this is directly relating to you, these Medicare Advantage plans, because although you will have Part A and Part B, you're still paying for them and you're still in them, they're being administered by a separate company. Like, just for an example, United Healthcare, Humana. So you have these plans and they're administering your Medicare Part A and Part B. So when you go to the doctor or you go to the hospital, you have that card and that's what you present for your Medicare Part B. And they can be an HMO, they can be a PPO, which is Preferred Provider Organization. They can be private fee-for-service plans. They have all medical savings accounts. So they have all different types of plans out here. Now, if you're working in the private sector, you have some homework to do, because you need to go to your employer and find out what happens to my health care once I leave. So Medicare Part B for you may become essential to be enrolled in, as well as looking into having a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, these plans also cover things such as vision, dental, hearing, and they give you prescription drug coverage as well. Now, you still have to pay your Part B premiums, but you are getting all of your services through a company that is working with Medicare. These all are Medicare approved companies that offer these Medicare Advantage plans. Okay. And they, just like your regular health insurance, they have networks. You can be in network or out of network. Now, the Part D, this is the prescription drug coverage. If you have a health plan that offers you prescription drug coverage through your primary plan, then you don't need to worry about getting prescription drug coverage. If you get the Medicare Advantage plans, these plans generally will have the prescription drug coverage on it. So you still have to, they're going to be offered through the Medicare. You still have to pay your premiums. Some of these companies, they charge you extra for the drug plan. And then others, they just include the drug plan with your plan. So, and again, all of these companies are approved through Medicare. But here's the problem when you have the Part D. Some of you may have heard of something called the donut hole. If you're working, again, with the government or municipality or state employer, you don't have this to worry about, because your secondary insurance, which was your primary when you were working, it's going to cover this for you. You have the drug benefit. So when you enter this donut hole here, then your other insurance is paying it and you don't have to worry about it. However, if you're in the private sector and you need this drug coverage, what the donut hole says is that you have your prescription coverage, and you see here. So for 2018, you have to, the deductible is $400. Once you pay $400, then the coverage starts paying for the rest of your prescriptions. You have a certain amount that you pay, $5, $2, whatever it is. Now, once you and Medicare have paid $3,700 right here, once you've paid this $3,700, now the company says, and this is Medicare as well, look, we're not going to pay any more. Now so that's where this donut hole comes in, because you're fully covered until you have paid out $3,700. Now, last year, my mother paid $4,100 towards her prescription costs. So if she didn't have her backup plan, which was her federal plan, she would have been in this donut hole, and it would have been catastrophic for us. And this is why you have to make sure you understand this and get your prescription coverage correct. Because now, once you're in this donut hole here, you're now paying 40% of what the cost is and 51% of the charges from Medicare. And you continue to pay that until you reach $4,950, almost $5,000. And this continues. This goes all the way to the end of the year. You don't get a reset until January of the next year. So if you're on prescription medicine and you need to get prescription drug coverage through a Medicare Advantage plan, again, this is primarily for people that do not work for the government. Now, I do want to address, some people on here may be veterans or are eligible to participate and get care from the VA. Now, although you're getting your care from the VA, they do recommend you also get Medicare Part B. Why? Because regulations can change. One day you may need it. You may move to an area where there is no real VA service centers that accept your health, your TRICARE health insurance. So you only have your Medicare Part A. You're in an area where you cannot, no one accepts your health coverage, and you have to travel hundreds of miles away. What are you going to do? Whereas if you have Medicare Part B, you can now go to another provider in your area. So we always like to bring up and bring to your attention the what ifs in life, especially for the veterans. You all are getting care. If you're in a care area right now where you don't have a problem, what if you move? So that's where the Medicare Advantage plans will come in. Also, having to get prescription drug coverage will come in as well. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Again, Medicare does not cover long-term care. These are just some of the costs of having, if you need long-term care, homemaker services. Now, that's someone who comes in, cooks, cleans for you. That's different than your home health aide, okay, who's there to take care of you and bathe for you. So if you need to have both of these people, that's $90,000 a year. This is why long-term care coverage or critical care coverage is important, because a lot of people want to self-fund, say, oh, well, I have my savings. I got $500,000 in my retirement account that I can access. Well, if you're spending $100,000 a year on these two services, having someone to come in and having someone to help manage you personally, bathe you, feed you, clothe you, or help your spouse or whomever may be there with you. Remember, you're getting this money out of a tax-deferred account. So in order for you to get out, let's just say it's $50,000, you're going to need to take out about $75,000. Now, when you take out that $75,000, remember your Medicare Part B premiums go according to your income. So that's $75,000 more in your income. So you have to really plan and make sure. It also, if you have to go to adult daycare, $17,000 for the year. Assisted living, $43,000. If you're in a nursing home, your health insurance nor Medicare will pay for you to be in a nursing home if it's not a rehab facility. That's $82,000 a year. That's why coordinating all these benefits and really understanding what is going on is vital. And that's what we're here for. You can reach out to us. We can help put together a plan specifically for you. So that's it. I would love to tell you more, but next week we'll get a little more into it. We're going to be going over the nuts and bolts of financial literacy. And guess what? That's going to include making sure you have your financial pyramid in its proper alignment, that you have the products and services in place to help you no matter what situation comes up, so that your family doesn't suffer a financial crisis. And we don't want that to happen. And that's why we're doing this series, to help you prepare for that. We're here to be your navigators through these choppy waters that we have ahead of us. So, as we always say, planning is just bringing the future into the present so that we can do something about it now. That's why this today was called Planting the Seeds for Your Medicare Harvest. Because remember, no one is going to tell you. You can still, even if you haven't paid into Medicare yourself, you may still qualify through a spouse. Okay, even if you're divorced, if you were married for at least 10 years, you can still qualify for that. So I've gone over all of the things relating to Medicare that you need to be aware of. If you still have questions, give us a call. Our information is right here on the screen. You can reach us for our phone listeners, welcome. You can reach us at 301-577-6340, or you can email us at info, at your, A is in affordable, B is in benefits, solutions, inc.com. So what's going to be right for you? It depends. We don't know, but what I do know is that in the future, and even right now, especially as you're approaching retirement or you're getting ready to retire, we have some important decisions ahead that you have to make. And we would love to be here to help you make those decisions. So let us help you chart your course. Thank you so much for joining us here. If you have any questions, please type them in real quick. If you have questions on Facebook, I'm trying to, my partner isn't here to monitor Facebook, so I'm trying to do it, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just going to be honest. But I do appreciate you joining us and again for another Financial Fed Friday. Come back next week. And when you come, don't just bring one, bring two. Tag your friends. Let them know they need to be on this webinar because of the information we're giving out. I look forward to seeing you back here next Friday at 10 a.m. And for those of you that were on, please let Rita know that Darlene held it down. She did her best. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful and prosperous weekend. Okay, let me see. I have okay. Please call me next Tuesday. Send me your name. I don't know. You're on the phone, but I don't know who this is. But please let me know. I would definitely give you a call because I'm here to serve. And if somebody could just tell me how to find my comments, I need a Facebook class, y'all. Who out there can help me navigate this Facebook? I need my partner here. Thank you so much, Tawana. I appreciate it. Well, Javon, I know you're on Facebook. Please answer the questions. I appreciate you. That's our other team member I mentioned earlier, Javon Walker, holding it down for me on Facebook. Thank you. Yes, Luella, I definitely will. Thank you. You all have a great weekend. I'll see you next week on the broadcast. Take care, everybody.